Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday afternoon. OPEX finally over. Thanksgiving week next week. Shortened trading week. Hallelujah. Wow. We need a break. How is everyone doing? Good afternoon, Patrick. I'm trying. I'm not ready for winter. You know, it does not make 5 dog walks any fun when it's this cold. Yuck. Hello, Connor. Hey, yo, Daniel. Hey, Paul. Good evening, Anissa. Chop, chop, chop. Most OPEX days are chop, chop, chop. Like chopping wood. Well, there are some great days to just take off, from my opinion. Oh boy, yeah. Hey Chris, hey Mike, smash the like. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. Hello, hello, Amadeus, bringing us a little musical interlude. Hey Gary, look at all this on a Friday afternoon. Let's add do- doggy treadmill to the Christmas list. You know, I don't think any of my dogs would get on a doggy treadmill. I know a couple of them would be terrified of it. Probably another one would just pee on it. So, yeah, I'd love if that worked. I'd love if I could just train them to do the doggy treadmill. When I lived in Texas, somebody around the corner from me had a German Shepherd, and in their garage they had a treadmill, and that German Shepherd would run on that treadmill every day. It was pretty fun. So, what do I think caused the drop before the close? It's just repositioning with OPEX and hedging and everything else. You get weird moves, especially at the end of the day with OPEX. I can't tell you anything specific. Lots of times it's just putting on or unwinding positions to account for where we're going to settle based off, or potentially settle based off of options in the option positioning. This market's for the dogs. Don't we want to get back to some just calm markets again? Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, well. All right, we had Colin speaking today. Again, nothing new. We had the consumer board leading index minus 8%. That's down 8 months in a row, I think. That is, I mean, that's, again, you're going to get the recession. You're going to get the recession. There's no two ways about it. So that's where it sits right there. A stock market map. Defensive things sort of rotated into some more defensive things like healthcare plans. Where is it? Aerospace and defensive were mostly up. Oil taking it in the shorts. Bouncing crude going into a Friday settlement, but you know it was weak most of the day. Walmart still chugging higher. Target trying to regain some of its losses. Baba taking it in the shorts. Tesla retesting the lows like we were expecting. You can see here utilities rally today with a 10-year pullback. Healthcare rally. I don't know what's going on with real estate, but it doesn't really matter if I understand it or not. Consumer defensive, there you go. And then rotating out of energy, communication services. I wouldn't bother chasing it until we get a long-term bottom. Just like I cover in the, oh boy, the sector overview. As you can tell, I am tired for the week. Basic material finally pull back there. Consumer cyclical, energy. So big things in defensive are actually up for the week. Fed watch actually dropping to 75%. I still think it's baked in. We're going to keep an eye on it because if this gets back to 50-50, could get interesting. But rising a bit. So based off of what Collins thinks, fear and greed mode still solidly in greed. All right. Nearly an inside day, had some interesting afternoon price action. I mean, I thought this was really going to make a run for it back, really make a run for it, and then just stalling out. Lots of volatility here right in front of the close. This kind of stuff is just positioning going into, all right, it's going to settle around here. We're definitely not going to pin the 3950s or the 4Ks. So depending on the dealers positioning and what they had to do, and market makers, all right, we're going to adjust our positions to flatten things out going into the close. That's what that generally means. I would not read anything more into it. Holding the daily rotation zone right now. So cycles have actually, this is what's interesting. This is not going to be a long session, by the way. I have some things to do, and my wife's been at the shooting range all afternoon, so I got to deal with all the dogs myself. Cycles heading to the bottom again. Well, we still have weekly at the top, so weekly's held up. Daily getting to the bottom, so we could easily see another cycle push before we get a bigger rollover move. So nothing's really changed. No close today above the 62.5, so not really much other than slight down, pullback correction, but not a big. Yesterday retested the key correction area and it's held up. Let's see. Sterling. Real estate makes no sense. I know a mortgage broker here who usually did between 20 and 30 closings a month. She has one closing schedule for, wow. I mean, the market's gone to sleep here unless there's cash buyers, but there's still low inventory, and unless you're a cash buyer. So that's where it sits. I can't decide if the semiconductors are bearish or bullish. I think they're going to be still more bearish than bullish. There's only a couple that I'm keeping an eye on. NVIDIA, though, it's a big part of that, and it is widely overvalued. If I had to err on a side, it would be continued bearish play, definitely. Wife is at the shooting range. I miss my ex, but my aim is getting better. Happy Friday. Yes, it is. There we go with a joke. So yeah, it's why I have to keep you know what? I took a break from the markets this afternoon and I vacuumed the house. So she will come home to a clean floor. When you have 5 dogs, you have to vacuum constantly. But boy, when she's been working on her aim, I want it to be a clean house. Wow. Dishes are done. House is vacuumed. I am prepared. No body armor required for me. Oh, Sterling loves a woman who knows how to handle a firearm or multiple firearms. Always good to know how to defend yourself, I think. I don't leave anything to chance. Training is good. So, NASDAQ closed right around the vicinity of yesterday. It's still technically open for 20 more minutes, but closing right at these key support levels, holding on the dips into the daily rotation zone. So not much new, still no close above 62.5. Cycles getting to the bottom on the NASDAQ too. So this is a cycle rollover getting to the bottom without a big pullback. So there's where we sit. Clean house, yeah, but hopefully she burned through her ammo at the range. Oh boy. Not with the amount I just got. Her arm would be dead if she went through the range ammo I have. Holy smokes, it's not happening. I couldn't even, if you tried to pay me to go through it and said you just replace it all, I don't think I could physically fire it all. Let's just put it that way. It would not be happening. My hand and arm would give out long before it was all done. William, thank you for being here. We feeling bullish or bearish on next week? If I had to bet, we could get a little more pullback going into the beginning of next week, or at least sideways pullback action. But going, if we don't get a major sell-off, I'm going with we finish the week in a bullish mode. Traditionally, it is an up week. That does not mean every day has to be up. Friday is notoriously on the shortened day, and Wednesday has a lot of bullish tendencies. Wednesday being the day before Thanksgiving. By the way, I didn't think the overly oppressive government you live under up there would allow law-abiding citizens to possess firearms. Don't even bring that up. Don't even bring that up. We still have the right to bear arms. We still have the right to bear arms. It's a little more difficult. I mean, when I lived in Arizona and you had open carry, that was really nice. You know, hey. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say. You know, hope I didn't offend people, but I don't really care if I did because it's in our rights to take care of our families and to be responsible. Look at this. Look at this. You have to be responsible and train and know what you're doing. I don't like unresponsible gun ownership or irresponsible gun ownership. Training is key. Look at this. Key 33, 450 area holding there. 33, 758. Where the frig are we going to close this thing? It's right now trading 33, 758 with 15 minutes to go. Right at that 62 and a half. Is it going to close bullish? Or I can't say it's going to close up, but is it going to close above that 62 and a half? That's going to be key. Russell, there were some mini doubles during the day. Not much we have to review. Russell, we still got the upwards. Again, on the Russell, the NASDAQ, although the NASDAQ is a long way out from its targets, and the S&P, Russell and S&P being very close to their final targets. So they could easily be hit next week. DAX continues its march higher. Perfect example of a sideways correction with a rising rotation zone. This is a perfect example of what I watch for. As the rotation zone gets closer and closer, and you see here, sideways correction holding that 4-hour rotation zone and the rotation back up against the key resistance. The notes pullback, pretty dull day, but pullback to the daily rotation zone. Not much to talk about. Working off the cycles, getting back to the bottom. We could still see a little more pullback, but going to keep an eye closely on this since we haven't hit the first target. Dollar index inside day from Thursday. So guess what I'm watching? I'm watching Thursday's highs and lows. Still watching reconnection with the rotation zone because cycles are turning up. So I'm more focused on the highs from Thursday and the highs from Monday, which are virtually the same area. A breakout above there. VIX, still watching for that to reconnect next week after option expiration with the lower price area and complete the double top. Crude, finally, we got the spike down below that 87.5, so we fulfilled the probabilities on the close below the 62.5. That doesn't mean this has to be a low, but I am going to be watching today's high. A break above there and a close above there could be a little pop back up. Don't know if it'd be proper reward to risk, but that's what I'm keeping an eye because it would be a percent beat buy with cycles at the bottom. I looked at this earlier. There's no strong pattern. Now, if we pull back against these key levels, then we could get a stronger bottoming pattern. We got gold finally pulling back. Nice. Could drop a little more back into this breakout zone. I want to see how it reacts at this key support or resistance becoming support. Not much else going on. Euro, pause, pullback day. Pound, pause. Bitcoin has gone to sleep. Boy, this wash trading and the people converting their stuff to Bitcoin. This is another example. Deep oversold and moved back up, and now it's at cycle tops against the rotation zone. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. Tesla coming back down. We can now flip. Nothing's invalidated with the potential double. Don't know if it's going to trigger or not. Actually, the daily rotation zone might get out of the way, and that could snap it back to the 50. However, it's a long way off from triggering, and just tried to eke out a new low and bounce back a new recent low. So nothing's really changed with that. Let's see. Get the major drop over with. The major drop, I don't, unless something completely goes haywire, I don't expect a major drop next week. Can we take a peek at Walmart? Sure. Keep an eye on this. I know it's this little thing, but it's nearly a triple, but it's still technically a double on the daily. So this is what I am keeping an eye on. It's great for trailing stops but if that does trigger, you could see a quick return to the prior breakout zone. Other than that, still on track to target the 87.5 harmonic area. So that's where it sits. And we still do have a bigger potential divergence. Cycles getting the top back on the daily and at the top on the weekly. So I'll be keeping a close eye, but the only short-term bearish thing would be this little mini double to take it back to the breakout zone. That's about it. So if you're playing this from the long side, you have some great different options for trailing stops. So, hey, John, Tesla, I think Tesla's gas to 165. Yeah, Tesla, I'm watching it. The only bullish pattern, come on, there we go. The only bullish pattern is a long way off from triggering. Okay, where's the next key cluster? 162 area. That's really key because that's also 62.5. The next key cluster is there for me. Yes, we're going to hit that. We're going to hit it at some point. It's got gas even below that potentially. Where does this sit with the... Oh, it's back to only 56, 57 PE. Oh, well. Bitcoin did not break the triangle pattern. And you know how I feel about triangle patterns. You can see it here, though. Nope, still sitting in there. You can pretty much, and this is where I would use if you're trying to trade a triangle pattern, which I don't advise for most people, because it can keep stretching out, and you got a breakdown, you got key support, breakout, you got too many key resistance, but people like to watch it, even though it's very close to 50-50. There's still your triangle pattern. Nothing new. All right. I think that's about it. I saw you tweeting Sterling. We had the quick little nearly filled the gap with Gap. Gap nearly filled the gap, coming back down to key support and moving back on up. Gap trading without a lot of hey, was anybody trading Grinder? I mean, come on. This is why we're not done. This is why we're still not done. Sorry, that's probably UPS at my door. Dog's going nuts. Here we go. Grinder was going nuts today. Once we stopped seeing this kind of price action off an IPO day, what was the low? Low 1639, high 17 or 70, not 17. So personally not touching it. All right. Is that a bullish or bearish pattern? That's the problem. Lots of triangles test out very close to 50-50. 51-49, 52-48. It's a toss-up. It doesn't give you a lot of probabilities. Now, what you're better to follow is the longer-term rotation zones, which favor a break to the downside. However, for example, you break down here, you got a lot of support here, you got support here, so you got to be really nimble trading these things. Business person, thank you for being here. Pay attention to the shipping container stocks. Let's take a look at a couple, then I'm going to wrap it up. Fro. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Grinder does have a small float. Shipping container stocks. Still holding. Still holding key support. Let's see where those harmonics take us. Holding up nicely. Next target 1479. Let's see where the longer term targets are. Oh, nice cluster up there. Look at that cluster. Woof. 1482 target, then 1579. As long as key resistance holds with the rising rotation zone. So that's interesting right there. TNK. I guess it wasn't UPS. Wife is back. Wife is back. I better be on my best behavior now. Look at that. So that's the only little bearish thing right there. So great stop level for any longs there. Okay, so yeah, that's some nice targets the upside here. I love this. I love when I have a great stop level like this. Because if that triggers, you've broken two key areas of support. I want the close below the 50 being that close, but by the time that roll triggered, it'd probably be right there. And that's right at key support triggering a retracement, so got a great pattern there. With the rising weekly rotation zone. Interesting. Thanks. Thanks, business. Yes, they are charging ahead in this key area, 3663, stop raise, 3789 to 3863 area for next cluster. Excuse me, next cluster. Let's just take a look at putting out the plays. So this one's a little choppier. Great level of support there on any pullback. Fantastic level of support. There's your harmonics. So there's next target 388, pullback level 350, 351. What else do we have? I'll look at one more. It's always nice to put out plays that people are looking at. This one, not yet a breakout. Let's just see where we are. Did that actually hit the 29.67? 29.61. So not technically a double yet, but closed above the 62.5. So I'd watch if that does eke out and double tops. Then you have a nice stop, a nice, really nice trailing stop level. You also have coming down resistance, becoming support. So that's an even tighter level with the rising rotation zone. And your little short-term harmonics. 32.21, 33.73 once it breaks above the high. So yeah, you got some potential upside so far. Sideways correction with the rising weekly rotation zone. All right. So there, again, hats off to Business Person for calling attention to the shipping container stocks. I think that's a good place to wrap it up besides peeking in. Oh, couple things. Let's peek in at the, let's see where these closed. I want to see where the Dow closed. 58.66, which is not the official closing mark. So it's really close to closing with that 62.5. Zen would favor some higher prices based off the probabilities. But one other thing, in case you weren't paying attention, the yield curve continues. Look at this. Minus 70.8. I should say negative 70.8. Look, whoa, just continues on its trajectory down. Getting interesting cycles, getting to the bottoming area. Let's see if we can hit this 73.7 before it turns up. All right, that's a great place to leave things. I will be back on Sunday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll come up with our roadmap, and I'll get out a sector overview for the people who have joined the channel. With that, if you are new here and you like what we do, just subscribe. That's all I got to say. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Or in a couple days on Sunday. Bye for now.